second video in the series. This is the night turn for day 1. Now during the night turn, you can't enter into the field of fire of enemy units. So it's just repositioning, backing up, recovering some losses. The north will recover 1 block and the south will recover 1 block. Let's drop some chips and get into it. First one I show the disposition of the battlefield at the beginning of the evening. And this next picture shows the disposition of the battlefield at the beginning of turn 1. Second and Third Corps have reformed and recovered their lines, and Longstreet has crossed all the way over to the Confederate left along the Chambersburg pike. Sickles was a little dilatory in getting the Third Corps out of the road, so Hancock's Second Corps got stopped up a little early. And here you see that Union artillery. Now the single Union lost block was recovered because you recover half your lost blocks at night, rounding up. So they had lost 1, it came back. Heath's devastated division, both blocks were lost, recovered 1 of those blocks. And the other one is still here. Now I've turned this block upside down to indicate that it can't be recovered on the night of day 2. Now in turn 1, Longstreet's artillery will be coming up the Chambersburg pike. Coming up the Baltimore pike on the opposite side is Sykes' 5th Corps. Now here's his Buford. Now he's observed the front of Longstreet's column, and he sent word to Meade. What will Meade do? It's tempting to throw everything over here and stop up the column. However, they'd like to get the artillery over to this side. Once Hancock's corps gets in place, they like to drive with that. Alright, on to turn 1, and let's see how this plays out. Here we are at the beginning of second turn, mid-morning. The early morning was filled with trying to continue organizing the lines as troops from the night came in. Over here on the Confederate left, we see that Longstreet is forming up his line. And Meade, in response to that, is beginning to stretch out his line. Will he have troops in place to stem Longstreet's attack? Sykes, rushing to the Union line, was frustrated by the artillery still in the road when he showed up. You hate to curse the artillery, but dang, they were in the way. Now upcoming on turn 2 here, Ewell would like to begin his attack while the Union line is trying to coordinate itself and get in and stretch out to meet Longstreet. But will Longstreet be ready to attack? Will the Confederate attack be uncoordinated? Now over here in the Confederate right, A.P. Hill's been trying to recover in the night. He did a lot of fighting setting this all up yesterday, and it exhausted his corps. And now he sees some dust clouds, he sees there's more Union troops filling in. He'd like to just remain on defense, but maybe it's now or never for attacking. We will have to see. Alright, it looks like the South has released the dogs of war. Longstreet has one big combat here.
Buford fell back before combat, leaving a space between the artillery and Longstreet's men. Thus, no combat here.
His artillery is back here. He'd rather have had a turn to bombard someone, but there wasn't time. In the center here, Rhodes' intention was to molest the artillery column coming up, but the artillery was pulled out quickly, and Sickles' division filled the gap. Now combat looks a little different there. And here we have Ewell and A.P. Hill's corps giving it their best. And the smoke clears from all the combat. The North lost 2 blocks, the South 1. Longstreet was not successful over here on the left. Slocum's 12th Corps was able to hold them off. Here in the center, Sickles' corps took some losses, but they held. Now in the center, Ewell was able to throw back Reynolds' corps completely, except for Wadsworth's division, which of course contains the Iron Brigade from Wisconsin. Those boys do not run. And on the Confederate far right, Heath's exhausted division, they were all, fresh for the attack. But yeah, they were thrown back. Though they were facing Howard's 11th Corps, which was also exhausted from fighting A.P. Hill's corps yesterday. So Hill's corps didn't gain anything either, though it held. And now it's turn 3, late morning. Will Lee call off the attack, or does he think, just like he did historically, that the Union troops were close to breaking? Let's find out. And now we come to the pinnacle moment of the battle. At least it looks like that from this point. Here in the center, Ewell has scraped together the spent units of Early and Rhodes, what's left of their divisions, and thrown them at the bags. The Union bags. Those are unpacked. They're right here. In front of them is a fresh artillery piece. Now that can be very bloody, but if artillery is forced to retreat and it's not backed up, and this artillery is not backed up, then it's destroyed. Because the artillery is not backed up, if it's destroyed, the bags don't advance up to fill the position. So the bags are as yet uncontacted. So there's no chance of the South capturing the bags this turn. But it's getting awfully close. Who will throw what? Who will have what to throw in to fight this battle? What it comes down to is the chit draw. Who will move first next turn? If the South moves first, they can get someone adjacent to the bags. The bags can't move. They could. The Union would have to pack up the bags and move them out of the way. And that's a withdrawal, a Union loss. Let's see how this plays out. Alright, firing all of its grape, they drive off the Southern attackers, but they had to pull what was left of the artillery out of there. It was a bloody, bloody battle. And it now comes down to who gets the chit draw. Now this is interesting. The first chit drawn is the artillery. So that artillery that was pulled back could be put right back in there. Of course, Ewell is going to try to jump ahead, which he does. So now Ewell is ahead of the artillery. But the Union has 3 corps, which can attempt to move ahead. So we're going to try that. First is Sickles' corps. Success. Now Lee will try to test and see if he can get
Ewell's corps
moving next. He does. And now Reynolds tries. Reynolds fails. But Meade is right there. Another 6. Meade fails. No surprise there. Alright, last chance. Slocum. He has a block he can throw in front, but it'll leave a terrible hole in the Union line. Slocum was slow to pull out. He failed as well. Alright, we're going to play out this final chit draw. And so there it is. Here we have the Northern bags that the North packed up and pulled out, denying the South a major victory. But it almost looks like the North would have won. It didn't have to end there. But this is one of those moments where the Army breaks. The South was actually able to rally together their troops and put together a major drive in the center that broke through, or was at least perceived to have broken through, and set panic throughout the whole Union Army, and they immediately began falling back. This is one of those scenes, the same sort of thing kind of happened at Waterloo, where suddenly the troops just gave up, said, we're done with this. No matter what their officers could do, the French troops were running. And here, the Union command might be going, hey, no, we got them, but the troops voted, no, we're getting out of here. That's what I really liked about this baggage train rule, because Army morale is critical in battle, and it's a hard thing to duplicate in a simulation. But with the baggage train rule, that kind of panic can be simulated. It's a handy metric. So the South launched an all-out attack at the Union center. The Union had to pull up their bags, bug out. And in this case, it might simply be Meade was saying, we're lost. Let's fall back to Pipes Creek, where I wanted to fight the battle. We'll do it there. That, my friends, was a very good game.